I think that we have really strong client demand across all of our businesses. So one of the great things about it is that the revenue growth is really coming from across the entire business. And so we're very happy to see more clients continue to want our technology services, more clients really wanting our data, having more investors coming into our ETFs, in addition to more companies going public. And then, of course, the trading volume. The trading volume has been very strong as well.
You have changed the mix with what it is Nasdaq's kind of looking for. And I realized that recently when you gave guidance, you talked about higher margins for the businesses that you're really focusing on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we basically are really focusing on making sure that we're leveraging all the technology and data analytics capabilities that Nasdaq has today. We provide our technology to almost 100 other markets around the world, and a lot of broker-dealers and now investment management firms are leveraging our technology and our data to drive their businesses. So those businesses, as we continue to bring more of our services into the cloud and kind of create more of a platform play for our companies in terms of how they use the market infrastructure technology, that will give us some margin lift over time.
Over time, people think of this as the Nasdaq, right? Like this whole thing, but it really isn't. Over time, how big a piece will this represent relative to the platform piece?
Well, our equities market continues to be, a big part of who we are. Right. It's our foundation. But as a business today, we really are a diversified business. And I would say that more and more of our revenue is coming from the technology and the data analytics side. That's definitely the higher growth part of our business. Right. So the equities market is a wonderful franchise.
But in total, if you were to make a pie chart a year or two from now, what would you like it to look like?
Well, I think that I would say that we definitely would say that the majority of our revenue today actually comes from sources other than the equities markets. So we would expect that majority to increase, but we don't give a specific percentage.
Where is your head on, and that of your board, on cryptocurrencies and providing an exchange and liquidity if and when they become regulated and they're compliant? Because a lot of people are frustrated that even if they go into that market, they have no liquidity on an exchange basis. Nasdaq would be a natural place for that, would it not?
Well, first of all, the initial implementations that we're doing in the blockchain are actually with our technology. So we announced this morning that Gemini is going to be using our surveillance technology to help them make sure that they're providing a fair market for their own participants. And as you said, it's an unregulated space today, so it's not something that we've decided to go into becoming an exchange, but we are providing our technology now to other crypto exchanges. Over time, though, if we do look at it and say it's time for, people are ready for a more regulated market, for something that really provides a fair experience for investors, certainly Nasdaq would consider becoming a crypto exchange over time. But right now, our technology really is the basis that we're really focusing on.
Would you advocate to regulators that it does become a regulated currency?
I think that it's a pretty immature space right now. So I certainly think that it's, it's kind of going through that classic product life cycle, right? So you've got, early implementations, and you've got a big hype cycle, and now we're looking at the maturing of the space. Which of the exchanges really are providing?
That means you're a believer, because a classic cycle would suggest that it's like going to to continue.
I do believe that.
Who think that like a classic that the cycle is
stay in the pink sheets.
Right.
Well, I would definitely say that that I believe that digital currencies are something that will continue to persist, and it's just a matter of how long will it take for that space to mature. And then once you look at it and say, okay, do we want to provide a regulated market for this? Certainly NASDAQ would consider becoming.
But the dream would be that a small company that only wanted to raise $250,000 in a regulated, approved environment could do it at a significantly lower cost if it had an exchange where there was liquidity. They could issue an ICO approved with a prospectus electronically, with a blockchain, and then look to an exchange like NASDAQ to convert that into other forms of currency, other cryptos, and perhaps cash. I'm just wondering if you're thinking that you want to be that destination, you're just saying we're not going to touch this while it's unregulated.
Well, I would say ICOs to me are different than cryptocurrencies. To me, those are two different. ICOs really are just using crypto to, issue tokens, I guess, on behalf, to raise money. Whereas cryptocurrencies to me is kind of a currency play in terms of kind of creating an alternative to the incumbent currencies that are out there. So ICOs to me they really do need to be regulated. I do believe that the SEC is right that those are securities offerings and need to be regulated as such.
We literally have 30 seconds, but I wanted to ask you about women CEOs, because we were talking about the study yesterday that I had been writing about, that female CEOs are getting paid the same as men, even though we think there's a massive pay gap everywhere else. Do you believe it?
I was actually not surprised by your article. I think that CEO pay is very disclosed, and as you become a CEO, as any person who becomes a CEO is able to look at all the other CEOs.
Do you think at female-led companies, there's less of a pay gap everywhere else down the chain?
I believe that certainly at Nasdaq, what we do is we do an evaluation of diversity pay every other year to make sure that we have parity appropriately.